I'm Tyler from Mountune USA. I'm here to show off our 1552 wheels and Mountune USA Project 96 Accord. The car is a 1996 Accord station wagon. It is inspired by a mid-90s Japanese touring car racing. It is powered by a new Honda HPD K20C1 crate engine with the controls pack. In the mid-90s, Japanese touring car racing was very popular. The K20C1 Japanese Touring Car Championship cars were known for their super low ride heights, giant wheels, and they were really the pinnacle of production-based racing in Japan for the time. Our livery was actually inspired by a car that was sponsored by a company called Jax, but we've taken the overall color scheme and worked in our own sponsors and brands to it. The project is primarily a joint project between 1552 Wheels and Mountune USA, but we have a host of other partners that are involved. AM Electronics, of course, Tane Suspension, Vibrant Performance. Honda Racing HPD supplied the crate engine and controls package, which is really the cornerstone of the car. Radium Engineering, Acuity, CSF have all been super helpful. 1552 Wheels recently released their Super Touring line of wheels. These are the 19-inch Super Touring podiums wrapped in Toyo tires here on Project 96. This Accord was originally 4-lug. We've converted it to a 5-lug bolt pattern. We've retrofitted FK8 Civic Type R Brembo front and rear calipers and rotors. Rotors and pads are from R1 Concepts. So let's show you the heart of this thing. So what we have here is the K20C1 engine as found in the current model Civic Type R. It's the most powerful 4-cylinder engine Honda's put in a production car thus far. HPD, Honda Racing, they made this engine available as a crate engine actually a few years ago. And it was only available to racing customers through their racing line program. But for 2021, in addition to the crate engine, they've come up with a controls package that really facilitates the swapping of this engine into different chassis. The controls package includes, of course, the long block engine fully dressed, comes with a nice little engine wire harness, the ECU itself with a preloaded calibration tuned by HPD, and also a little power distribution module, so it makes it almost a plug-and-play installation for swapping into different chassis. So the crate engine and controls package are available exclusively through HPD dealers, one of them being Mountune USA. We took this opportunity at Mountune USA to show off what it's all about and build a project of our own to show exactly what's involved with swapping this engine into a different chassis. This engine, being a modern 4-cylinder engine, is factory turbocharged, gasoline direct injected, twin, variable cam timing, VTEC, direct coil on plug ignition. Direct injection fuel systems can run up to 3,000 PSI, but part of this controls package is they've made it all completely plug and play and controlled by the ECU that's supplied. It just requires a few simple hookups, one of those being a low pressure fuel supply system just at a standard 50 PSI. So that's where AEM comes in. They've supplied us with the adjustable fuel pressure regulator, -10 race fuel filter, and fuel pressure sensor. Uninterrupted 50 PSI to the high pressure fuel pump located on the engine. To get this engine mounted into a chassis, who else do you go to other than Hossport Performance for engine swap mounts? There aren't a lot of these engines swapped into other chassis. Started with the basics. They make a stock replacement kit for the Civic Type R. We started with those pieces and custom fabricated some adapter brackets to get it into the 1996 Accord chassis. So why would you want to swap one of these engines as opposed to an older Honda engine? Well, this is the highest horsepower production engine Honda's ever put in a 4-cylinder car. It makes 306 horsepower, 295 foot-pounds of torque because it is factory turbocharged. Part of this package is the factory turbocharger with the electronic wastegate actuator, fully controlled by the HPD ECU. Honda Performance Development also supplied a factory Civic Type R transmission. It's a 6-speed out of the current model Civic Type R. Over by the fuel pressure regulator, you might notice we have an AM Electronics 22-channel CAN sensor module. What that is it's tied into the CD7 dash for a full data logging solution. The ECU supplied by HPD, it does have a CAN bus output, which is nice. We get the standard engine parameters, RPM, throttle position, manifold pressure, things like that, temperatures, water and air. But to be honest, I wasn't sure what exactly HPD would be transmitting over that CAN bus. So I've outfitted the engine with a host of other sensors from AEM. I have coolant pressure, fuel pressure, brake pressure front and rear, clutch pressure, oil temperature, gearbox temperature, and these are all wired into the 22-channel CAN sensor module, which is then transmitted to the CD7 dash. Also tied into the CD7 dash, I have the AM VDM, Vehicle Dynamics module, with the GPS antenna, so we can do track mapping and real driver coaching and kind of analysis with all the brake pressures and things like that. Inside the cockpit, we made this nice little 3D printed mount for our AM CD7 dash. The CD7 is nice because it's not only a display, but it also has shift lights and the internal data logger, which I really like. As I mentioned, I have a CAN bus coming in from the HPD supplied ECU that's giving me all of the engine vitals, RPM, boost, things like that, as well as all of the AEM products such as the 22-channel CAN sensor module, the vehicle dynamics module, the GPS, and they're all tied together through an AEM net hub, which makes it really easy to connect up. Mounted behind me, I have the Radium Engineering fuel cell that's housing two AEM, actually, 320 per hour E85 fuel pumps.
340 now.
Are they 340?
Yeah, well,
all right. Also included with the Radium Engineering fuel cell, they have an integral fuel level sensor. I have that wired into the 22-channel CAN sensor module that's also displaying on the dash and logging. The CD7 dash, for example, has two onboard CAN buses. When HPD first started out with this ECU project, I really didn't know what CAN bus speed or what channels they'd be transmitting to me, but I knew I wanted to have all of the AEM, vehicle dynamics, and 22-channel also integrated. So having two onboard CAN channels is nice because Honda just supplied me with a nice DBC file, loaded that up, I get all my engine parameters, and then all of the AEM stuff is basically plug and play, loading those associated DBC files as well. I got the CD7 with the full hooded enclosure with the integrated shift lights. This makes it nice because the buttons are on board. I didn't have to mount anything anywhere else. The templates are fully customizable, so I can display in Fahrenheit and SI or US units, or I can go to metric units, which is what's coming over the Honda ECU, or I can convert them in the software and display it any way I like. I can change the graphics to suit maybe the styling of a mid-90s touring car. And I can log anything from speeds to temperatures to pressures, and then I can compare them all, overlay them, apply maths to them. Once we have all that data, we can make really intelligent decisions on how to really develop really good aftermarket parts to make these high-performance vehicles even better. One of my favorite things about this car is that I actually personally used to own it about 10 years ago. I've been into Hondas and swapping engines in Hondas for probably the better part of 20 years. So being able to work with Honda's latest and greatest high technology 4-cylinder turbocharged engine in a car that I think is kind of cool is a lot of fun. The chassis used for this build, I actually used to own about 10 years ago. I used to drag race it. It had a turbocharged H22 in it, making about 650 horsepower, powered by an AEM Series 1 ECU at the time. So this is really the first shakedown test for this vehicle, and so far so good. Everything's going really well. If you'd like to follow along with the build, make sure to follow us, Mountune USA 1552. And if you're interested in swapping one of these engines into your own project, please definitely check out MountuneUSA.com. We're an authorized dealer for the HPD Crate Engine program. We have all kinds of supporting products to facilitate your swap, and really we're the experts at it. We've done it already. We've done the first one.